Realm of history's embrace, Captain's Quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to realm. Captain's Quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe with maps in hand unveils.
Hey, welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast, episode 174. It is February 24th, 2025. How do you find us, Davey? What do we do? Go to YouTube, use that QR code, and you can like us, follow us, and subscribe to us. We want everybody to be a part of our podcast crew. And of course, everything is sponsored by the St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum. They are our big number one sponsors of everything we do. We always jump into the show with 8 Bells. So ladies and gentlemen, 8 Bells, sponsored by Marco's Pizza. Davey, what do we have? There it is, Marco's Pizza. You want a really great pizza? They also have sandwiches, and they have 2 locations now in St. Augustine. They're becoming one of our major sponsors, not just for the podcast, but also for our events and for the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. So, Davey, how many do we have?
6.
6 it is. Go ahead. Jerry Butler Jr., an American soul singer, songwriter, producer, musician, and politician. He was the original lead singer of the R&B vocal group The Impressions, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '91. After leaving the group in '60, Butler achieved over 55 Billboard pop and R&B chart hits as a solo artist, including He Will Break Your Heart, Let It Be Me, and Only the Strong Survive. He was inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame in 2015. He was 85 years old. Peter Edward Ostling, better known as Peter Jason, was an American character actor. He appeared in over 80 films and 100 television series. He often played military personnel and authority figures in a career that spans nearly 60 years. He was in 1987's Prince of Darkness, followed by 1988's They Live, and later the likes of In the Mouth of the Madness, 1994, Village of the Damned, 95, and Escape from LA, 96. He was 80 years old. Lynn Marie Stewart, American actress, widely known for her performance as Miss Yvonne, the most beautiful woman in Puppet Land. She originated the role in the 1981 stage show, The Pee Wee Herman Show, continuing it in the CBS television show Pee Wee Playhouse in 2010. The Los Angeles stage revival, and the Broadway production, which opened in November 2010 at the Stephen Sondheim Theater. Stewart was also known for her recurring role on the FXX television series It's All Sunny in Philadelphia as Charlie Kelly's mother, Bonnie. She was 78 years old. Hurricane, a special operations canine of the United States Secret Service. He was a black Belgian Malinois, recognized for his valor and bravery in 2014 for protecting President Obama by stopping a perpetrator who jumped the White House fence, attempting to enter the White House residence while the president and his family were inside. He is considered the most decorated dog in American history. In a ceremony at the U.S. Capitol on March 9, 2022, Hurricane became the first recipient of the Animals in War and Peace Distinguished Service Medal. He was 15 years old. Roberta Flack. Wow. An American singer who topped the Billboard charts with the #1 singles The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, Killing Me Softly with his song, and Feel Like Making Love. Flack was the first artist to win the Grammy Award for Record of the Year in 2 consecutive years. The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face won in '73, and Killing Me Softly in '74. Flack was inducted into the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame in 2009. And in 2021, Flack was one of the first inductees into the Women Songwriters Hall of Fame. She was 88 years old. Clinton J. Hill was a U.S. Secret Service agent who served under 5 United States presidents, from Dwight Eisenhower to Gerald Ford. Hill was best known for his act of bravery on November 22, '63, when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. During the assassination, Hill ran into the line of fire from the Secret Service follow-up car, leaped onto the back of the presidential car, and shielded the stricken president and the First Lady with his own body as the car raced to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Hill was the last surviving person who was inside the presidential limousine that day. He was 93 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, we raise our glass, we give a toast, an honor to those that have passed, to their fans, their families, and their friends. 8 bells, Davey. Let's pep it up just a little bit, as best as we can, with Joke of the Week with Minnie Mayhem. I know he's waiting in the wings, right, Davey?
He is.
Bring him aboard.
Ahoy, mates! Minnie Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by our cartoonist friend, Travis Romney of Salt City Comics. What happens when a pirate falls into muddy water? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
I can't wait to hear that at the end of the show. What happens to a pirate that falls into muddy waters? Does he become a singer? All right. Quote of the week by Spyglass Travel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want a good walking tour of the oldest city in the nation, contact my friends at Spyglass Travel. Not only will you get some good history of the oldest city in the nation, but you'll get a good cardio workout because it is at least an hour's worth of walking. Go ahead, Davey, give it away. Be selective in your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right. Unknown. Hey, all right, I agree with that up to a point. Kind of might fit in with what I have for Across the Bow. Let's see what happens. And, of course, question of the week, sponsored by Ancient City Sirens. Ancient City Sirens, who is your favorite author? Oh, wait. Ancient City Sirens. I'm reading too fast. Sorry. Ancient City Sirens. You want a good dance troupe for all of your events? Miss Gina and the girls at Ancient City Sirens, they can do it all. All you have to do is contact them. And question of the week. I just spent Saturday, a couple hours Saturday, at a book authors convention here in St. Augustine, and I met several authors, and it had me thinking, here's a good question. Who's your favorite author and or favorite book? I can tell you some of my favorite authors were Asimov and Heinlein, for starters. So we'll leave it at that. I was a big sci-fi freak when I was a younger kid, and now it's harder for me. And speaking of sci-fi freaks, what are you saying, Mandy?
I'm sitting here next to a sci-fi junkie book author.
So let's do that. So Daniel in the back there, who's your favorite author?
My favorite author? Oh, that's a long list.
Yeah. Do you have one that particularly stands out and or a favorite book?
Favorite book would be Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Favorite author would probably be R.A. Salvatore.
Very good. See, I like books, not only just sci-fi. One of my favorite books that I always like to tell everybody about is a book about a famous magician during the Second World War, all a true story. The War Magician.
Nice.
And it's a great book, and it really lays some things out about how magic can be used in just about anything. So that's a great book. Have you ever read that one?
I haven't, but one similar to that is The Prestige.
The Prestige is a good one too. Yeah. And The Illusionist was also another good one. Both of those, all three of those were good ones for me. Love them. Very good. So if you want to throw in whatever it is you like there for your favorite author and favorite book. This actually jumps us right into a clip that Davey works so hard on every week, and that is This Week in Nautical History. Go ahead, Davey.
And we have no sponsor.
Yes, we have no sponsor. We're working on some revamps of our sponsorship. So right now, I sponsor it.
We begin this week in nautical history in the year 1579. British admiral and explorer Francis Drake surprises and captures the Spanish treasure ship Nuestra Señora de la Concepción off the coast of Peru, Drake's richest plunder. 1597, Cornelius de Houtman's Dutch fleet departs Bali and sets sail for the Netherlands. 1844, 12-inch gun aboard USS Princeton explodes, killing Secretary of State Abel P. Upshur, Secretary of the Navy Thomas Gilmer, and other high-ranking U.S. federal officials. 1875, the SS Gothenburg hits the Great Barrier Reef and sinks off an Australian east coast, killing approximately 100, including a number of high-profile civil servants and dignitaries. 1914, HMHS Britannic, sister to the Titanic, is launched at Harland and Wolff, Belfast. 1933, first genuine U.S. aircraft carrier named USS Ranger. 1938, first passenger ship equipped with radar. 1942, World War II German submarine U-578 torpedoes U.S. Navy destroyer USS Jacob Jones off Cape May, New Jersey, killing all but 11 of a 113-man crew. 1944, first female U.S. Navy captain, Sue Dowser of Norse Corps, appointed. And finally, in 2003, America's Cup, Auckland, Swiss yacht Alinghai beats Team New Zealand by 0.44 seconds to sweep series 5-0. Alinghai's Russell Coutts wins last 14 America Cup races he's competed in as skipper, the most in history. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. Very good. We do a segment on here. Do comic book authors count? Why, sure. We'll take one of those. If you got one, I got Carl Hessin. There's a good one for you. Favorite book, Johnny Tremaine. Okay, I'll have to look that one up. Author, Mark Waid. Cool. I see, let's see, do I see anything else? They call him a dirty dog. What is that all about? Sometimes I don't catch everything. All right. So, community events. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last week of February, and March is going to be a very, very busy week for myself and Davey and the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. We have two major events in March. One of them is the Celtic Festival.
Ooh, Celtic Festival.
Ahoy, mates! Mini Mayhem here in the St. Augustine Swashbucklers beer booth at the St. Augustine Celtic Music and Heritage Festival. Come down to the Francis Field on March 8th and the 9th. Gates open at 10. Make sure to stop by the beer booth and say hi. Maybe we can dance together to the music of Albernac and drink a pint together.
Good job, Davey. Yep. Oh, Mini Mayhem will be there. Maybe we'll have to set him up to have picture-taking opportunity with him. But Albernac will be there, and the St. Augustine Swashbucklers will be running the largest beer booth of all. So, if you need your libations, not just beer, but wine and whiskey. Jameson's, I believe, is the name for the day. So come on out. We are manning the booth. It's near the main stage, and we'll be there the whole weekend. All the tips raised from the whole weekend will be then put towards our charity events. So come on out, ladies and gentlemen. We'll probably do a little bit more on next Monday's show. Anything else on the Celtic Festival, Davey? Is that it?
That's all I happen to.
All right, good enough. And, of course, the Seafood Festival, the last weekend of March. That will be a lot of fun also. The St. Augustine Swashbucklers, Captain Mayhem, we've been a part of both of those events for over 12 years each. So come on out and join us, and we'll have some more on the Seafood Festival as things come along. We do not have a guest, but I do want to put this out. I've been making some requests on group pages, other pirate crews, that if they have events and would like us to talk about them, we'd love to do something about it. So if you're watching us and you want us to be adding your event to our calendar, we may be making a revamp of our calendar and figuring out what we can do to provide support to anybody else that has a great event. That being said, since we have no guest, let's just jump. A favorite book as a child was Black Beauty. Well, I think that was everybody's. When I was a teen, my favorite book was Dracula by Bram Stoker. I forgot about Dracula. That would be a good book. Frankenstein, I think, was better, though. Now, Davey, why don't we jump into this week in history?
All right.
Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why, look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin this week in history in the year 1692. Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba are interrogated after accusations that they were practitioners of witchcraft in Salem, Massachusetts Bay Colony. 1836. Samuel Colt patents first multi-shot revolving cylinder revolver, enabling the firearm to be fired multiple times without reloading. Also, in 1836, showman P.T. Barnum exhibits African-American slave Joyce Heath, claiming she was the 161-year-old nursemaid to George Washington. 1862. First Legal Tender Act, 1862, is passed by the U.S. Congress, authorizing the United States note, greenback, into circulation, the first flat paper money that was legal tender in America. 1863. Abraham Lincoln signs National Currency Act, establishes single national U.S. currency. 1878. Congress overrides U.S. President Rutherford B. Hayes' veto of the Bland-Allison Act, requiring the Treasury to buy a certain amount of silver and put it into circulation as silver dollars. 1909. First National Women's Day is observed in the United States, organized by the Socialist Party of America in honor of the 1908 garment workers' strike in New York, where women protested against working conditions. 1933. King Kong, film directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Shustak, starring Fay Wray, premieres at Radio City Music Hall and RKO Roxy in New York City. 1942. The Battle of Los Angeles takes place, a series of anti-aircraft engagements over the city in response to be a rumored but false Japanese attack. It would last until the morning of the following day. 1952. PM Winston Churchill announces Britain has its own atomic bomb. 1954. U.S. explodes Castle Bravo, a 15-megaton hydrogen bomb at Bikini Atoll, which accidentally became the most powerful nuclear device ever detonated by the U.S. 1980. Snow falls in Florida. And finally, in 1991, Gulf War, coalition planes bomb Iraqi forces retreating from Kuwait, killing hundreds and creating the so-called Highway of Death. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. Very good. Some really good points you always bring out in all of our history clips. I really appreciate the work you do with all that. Looking down at what we have, it is time for a shot across the bow. This is when I write something and speak my mind. I'm the captain. I should. We try not to make it too political, but tonight it may be political for a few. We'll see what happens. So, Shot Across the Bow starts this way. Problem in our country today is a lack of manners and decorum. Our country is going through major changes, and I, for one, reserve judgment on the potential success or failure of many of these changes. But for tonight, I do share my thoughts on the people who are naysayers and negative Nellies. It has been 36 days since the president took office, and it has been a whirlwind first month, 36 days. I will give you that. But I just have to shake my head, sometimes laugh, and even yell at the TV about all the negative responses that I am watching in real time today. So I share just a few points for your consideration. Let's start with egg prices. Since 2021, the number of chickens killed off yearly tops out at over 9 billion chickens per year. Why is this so high? Well, the last decade, the bird flu has been a major concern, and most of the 9 billion are culled out due to the concerns of contagious carryover to healthy birds. So if we were to really truthfully be aware, the loss of so many chickens is really the bigger reason why egg prices are slowly and steadily rising. When doing my research for tonight, I was so confused by the sheer number of chickens in the US, the different types of chickens raised, and specifically what they were raised for, eggs or meat. The numbers were staggering. Yet people jeer and make fun of any Trump supporter with words like, well, how are those egg prices going for you? Or, I don't see egg prices going down very quickly. Ha ha ha. My response is usually, my first response I want to say is, aren't you a dumbass to think major changes can happen so quickly? But I try to refrain from saying that. In reality, the culling of the chickens is normal, but the numbers over the last 4 to 7 years, has changed significantly due to the rising health issues of the bird flu. You see, the decisions to cull many of these birds happened during both the past administrations, both of them, and will continue in the current administration. The biggest blame should be directed towards politicians and parties who could very easily give facts and details, as I have, and educate the American people instead of just rile them up and divide them with childish attitudes. If you're thinking Trump can fix this, maybe, but only after they tackle the bird flu first. For now, there is no magic wand to fix this issue and bring down our egg prices. It's just something that's going to happen. It's been going on now for over 7 years. Another thing that frustrates me, and I will use an example that I saw on Facebook the other day. I saw a post the other day on Facebook from someone I have a lot of respect for. But this person made claim that the Christians were the major cause of why so many issues are there for gay and trans people. You see what the issue is? Well, let me explain it to you. They may not have meant it this way, but this is the way I read it, and this is the way the words came out. When are we going to stop lumping all people into groups and then blaming all of them for the poor negative behavior of the few in that group? I know many Christians, in fact, I am one myself, but I don't hate gays, I don't hate trans, for that matter, I don't hate blacks, Chinese, Middle Easterners, purple people eaters, or anything else you can think of, or anyone else that you can think of that is different from me, because they are different from me. But what I do hate is any group that feels they need to be treated specially because of what they are and not who they are. This month we celebrate Martin Luther King. And in 1963, from his speech, I Have a Dream, he said, I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. I firmly believe that if King were still alive today, he would expand that quote to not just talk about the skin color. At least in my mind and my heart, I would hope so. I tell people that that take my tours at times that the understanding of human nature and the understanding of common sense are two of the best tools anyone can use to determine and form solid opinions about any subject in history, current or past affairs. If someone tells you something and your gut tells you, I don't think so, well, guess what? You just might be right. I also include that one should do their homework, their research, find no less than 3 sources, then make your conclusions. It does work. Don't rely on the loud, the obnoxious, and the rude, ill-mannered people around us to steer you in purely selfish directions. Social media is full of these people. Damn, and here I am using social media to pass on my opinion. I guess I'm a hypocrite. But I do have one other belief. If your opinions, thoughts are different from mine, that's cool. Why? Because I believe in your right to the difference of opinion from me in your thoughts and your opinions. But that doesn't give you the right to threaten, bully, or change my opinion by violence, because we do differ in our thoughts and opinions. So here's a few things to think about when it comes to people thinking, oh, 36 days and he hasn't done anything. Well, he has, but I am going to say this. I don't necessarily agree with everything he does. I didn't agree with everything in the last presidency and the presidency before that and the one before that and the one before that, because I have the ability to form my own thoughts and opinions. But think of this, a few points to think about. Number 1, do your homework. Go on the internet. You have a tool, use it. But do make sure that you're using at least 3 sources. 2, think before you respond. Gather your ammunition, otherwise known as facts. And number 3, stop lumping everyone into large groups and then blame the whole group for the stupidity of the few. We have to stop doing that. It is one of the great divides. If that doesn't ring true with you, then here are some other things that might help. How about this? Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay, maybe that's not good enough. How about good things take time? What about patience as a virtue? The best things in life are worth waiting for. Slow and steady wins the race. Or a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Are the things that are going on now going to be the thing that take care of all the problems in the world? Most likely not. But if you try to kill them before they start, by dividing everybody, we'll never know, will we? So in closing, will the things done fix or create a better change? I don't know. But I do know that there are 2 other stories in our childhood that might fit for what I'm trying to explain today. There are way too many Chicken Littles, all crying wolf, who, by the way, actions and attitudes they exhibit tell me that they're not paying attention. So let's be careful. We are all in it for the long haul, good or bad. And we'll leave it at that. And that's across the bow. Davey, what's next?
Guest on
Guest
deck.
on deck. Well, you read that too. So here, that was my note. The calendar is set, ladies and gentlemen, from March 3rd, which is next Monday, till December 29th. There are 44 weeks. 44. I'm still working on some guests for that. Like I said, I was at a book fair this past weekend. I have at least 7 authors I want to bring on board. 2 of them are local, St. Augustine. 3 of them are Florida. One of them is from Arizona. So we'll see if I can get any and all of them on board the show. But if you want to be on board the show, I've reached out to captains of other pirate crews. I'd like them to be on board. and anybody else for that matter. I do believe we can find all kinds of people to be on our show. We're considering some extra changes to our formats, so be watching what we do. I know with us being as busy as we're going to be in the first 2 weeks of March, pardon me, or the first week of March and the last week of March, we may make some changes and use March as a rebuild and a reset. So we'll see what happens. But for now, I think we should have the reveal of the joke of the week with Mini Mayhem.
All right.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What happens when a pirate falls into muddy water? The answer is he gets wet and muddy. I know Mandy Joe thinks it's funny.
Oh, I'm not laughing.
Yeah. Mandy is.
Yeah, Daniel, I agree with you. Shake your head. You're right. No, so I wasn't looking, but I see a few comments on the chicken comments. Hey, Captain Mayhem, this is Tony. We met this past Thursday. Did you try to make a folklore about the parrot theory I mentioned? I did not, but I appreciate you watching. I haven't had a chance to think about it too quickly, but I like the idea, and I may do some research on it. I have to write another magazine article by the end of the week, but this magazine article, I believe, is going to be on art, the art of pirates, paintings, and whatever else. So we'll see. Davey, love the history clips. Thank you very much, Nightingale in Florida. Egg pricing always goes up just before Easter. It has been going on for years. Yeah, but the egg pricing has been going up steadily for the last 4 to 7 years. Chickens crammed together under horrific conditions. Of course, disease is going to spread like wildfire, but local from farmers who raise their chickens humanely. Every time I have these thoughts, it gives me thoughts to maybe get a few chickens of our own so I don't have to worry about it anymore. So, and my landlord has said it would be all right. So, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do some chickens. So anyway, on that note, how about a thank you video, Davey?
All right.
The Captain Quarters Podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this podcast going. The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Joe. Our charities we support: Alias Acres, Humane Society, Inc. The 3 major charities we support, but always room for more. You too could be part of the show and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a Powder Monkey or First Mate sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. And there we are. There's our platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Twitch. Also, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, Music, iHeart, and Twitter. I met somebody today in the museum who works for Audible. What is that? Mandy, can you tell me? What is Audible?
Audible is a podcast system, and you're on it.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't do this because I'm technologically savvy. You understand that, right?
I'm pretty sure. Well, I've got you on a lot of stuff.
Okay. All right. So he works for Audible, so he'll be looking us up, I guess. That might be a good thing for us. You never know.
I sent it there, but I'll figure it out. But I was pretty
Okay.
sure you had Audible.
I don't know anything about it. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I just sit here and talk. I'll ask the guest questions and do whatever. I have Davey and I have Mandy. They are my crew, and I trust them very, very much. So, yes, Anthony, you can. We're going to give you the email of the podcast at the end of the show in just a few minutes. So, What else is on there, Davey? We did the number. We didn't do the numbers yet, did we?
No.
All right, show our numbers. My son just put up this here. Let me see if I can get my cursor over to it. Next, you'll find out you are on OnlyFans unknowingly, and my hopes that a political career will be tarnished. Yeah, they don't want to put me on OnlyFans, that's for sure. We really appreciate all the comments from everybody that comes on boards and shows that you're paying attention to our show. There's the email at the bottom, Captain's Quarters Podcast 21@gmail.com. We are looking at, as of before this show, I was given some advice about some things that we'd like to think about making some changes to. And I'm all for making changes as long as we can bring up our viewership and bring up our fandom. So be watching for some new ideas. And as we've been talking about for the last 3 months or so, we are looking into some merchandising for the show with a merchandising website. It seems to be all the rage nowadays. I just have been very, very busy, as everybody knows, from Halloween until January. I am busy with Halloween, Santa Claus, holidays. It just, you know how it goes. So I'm getting to the point that I've got to start slowing down, because I'd like to be around for another 10 years or so. So we'll see what happens. I don't have high expectations. 10 years and I'll be happy. There we go. Anything you want to say, Davey? Throw it out there to them. We're doing another short show.
Yes.
Nothing?
I don't have anything.
Andy, anything you want to say?
Not too much. Just hoping to get a bunch of stuff figured out. Like I said, I'm hanging out to try to get a working video camera for the moment. So.
Nice. Well, that's good. And that parrot on your shoulder, Daniel, back there, he can chime in if he wants.
You have a new book.
Squawk! Squawk! Squawk!
It already came out.
Oh, it already came out. His new book just came out.
You what?
His new book just came out.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, last week.
Very good. Is it already at the top of the chart?
Not quite, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, I guess then we're going to have you as one of our guests on the show and talk about your book.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, there we go. See, we've already started working on more guests. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll sign off for now. The shorter shows are making me a little more happy because I get to relax a little bit longer in the evening before I have to pass out. And tomorrow I have 9 tours in the museum. So, 9. On that note, Davey, how do we sign out?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you, ladies and gentlemen. We could, as I always say, but it's just not as much fun. So join us every week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Captain's Quarters Podcast. And if you have some ideas, you have some changes, you want us to fix things, make things better, or make things worse even, use our email and let us know. Until next time, next week, fair winds and following seas. Aye.
With wit and charm, they make it clear.